Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Dr. Murali Krishna. I am the president of Integris Mental Health and Integris James L. Hall Center for Mind, Body, and Spirit. This is a center we started about 8 years ago, originating from the bombing recovery, where we thought we'll do something good for our community to help discover the healing power that's existing within each one of us. And in doing so, we've brought many international speakers from all over the world and continue to do so, giving seminars. And we are so grateful to have Swamiji come and join us today. We'll have a formal introduction of Swamiji in just a few minutes. And he requested me to do something. He wanted me to give some of the scientific basis of what's going on when you meditate, and I'm going to talk for a few minutes about it. Last year, when Swamiji came, I have requested him to do one thing. I asked him, would you be willing to undergo some scientific investigation of the meditation process? Because if a meditation process is doing something to your brain, we should be able to detect that. Just like the genetic code in you and me and everybody in the whole world, they found out through modern science that 99.99% of genetic code of all human beings is exactly the same. No matter where you are, what language you speak, what height you have, brown, blue, yellow, green, black, whatever color we are all, we have the same genetic code. So scientific findings are verifiable. They are replicable. You can replicate them, duplicate them. If you do the study in Alaska, you'll get the same results. If not, there is something missing somewhere, I will look at something different. So all of us know for a long time that when you relax in this stressful world, some changes happen in your body. When you're stressed out, all of us experience stress in our life. Our heart goes faster, we become very tense, our breathing goes faster and shallower and irregular, our pulse rate goes higher, our muscles become tense, blood supply is taken away from certain parts of the body, like the digestive organs, like stomach and intestines, and redistributed back to other parts of the body, like the muscles of the legs. All these changes happen instantaneously. Just imagine you're driving on I-40, heavy traffic, fast traffic, and suddenly you found the flashing lights of a police car in your rearview mirror. Tell me what happens in your mind, in your body, not let alone mind, the body. Boy, the heartbeat starts beating fast immediately, right? Instantaneously it starts beating fast. The blood pressure goes high, pulse rate goes high, respirations go high. And these changes happen in a fraction of 1 second, not even 1 second, in a fraction of a second, before we can even think what happened. These changes happen automatically. And that's the typical stress response. Some danger is recognized by a part of the brain called amygdala, an old part of the brain. And the same part is seen in very primitive animals. That's a primitive response. It's been there for ages. We are born with it. Our parents had it, grandparents had it. We needed that response to survive as human beings. Our ancestors, when they were fighting for life in the thick forest, being afraid of lions and bears, they needed that reaction to survive so that they could run away if they can't fight, or fight if they can't, or be frightened. Fight, flight, fright reaction. But unfortunately, in the modern day world, we don't need that reaction except in rare situations. We don't see lions unless you go to the zoo. You don't see bears unless you go to the zoo. For us, stress reaction is regular events in life. Disagreements, mortgage rate going up or down, depending upon where you are in your life, economy, the weather, unfortunate events, whatever. And they elicit stress reaction so many times in each day that research is showing that each one of us probably will go through 40 to 45 stress reactions in a day. We may not even know that's happening in the body. So what's wrong with it? What's right about it? What's wrong about it? It's right if you're facing a life-threatening situation to have that kind of reaction because you better have it to survive. It is wrong if you have it too frequently, unnecessarily happen in your body because you're churning out toxic chemicals. that are not necessary. Your body is producing hormones that are not needed to produce. It's like putting in a high gear and trying to climb a hill in your car. That puts strain on the body, your heart, your lungs, your brain, your kidneys. All of it is strained. And it also, suppresses the immune system. Now studies are showing very clearly, stress suppresses the immune system. The stress hormones decrease the white cells that we need to fight with infection, with cancer. They decrease the white cells that we need for repair and defending our body. It postpones the healing mechanisms, so we don't heal as fast with the stress mechanisms evoked frequently. So we're really literally, every day, we are creating a bathtub full of acid and jumping into it every day over and over and over and over. So what you want to learn today from Swamiji is some techniques, meditation techniques, that come from ancient times, from great evolved human beings that Swamiji has himself received through his own evolution. And he's going to be sharing with us. And last year when we asked Swamiji to go through the trouble of subjecting to scientific investigation, he very cheerfully agreed without one complaint. He went for 3 repeat sessions for PET scanning and 3 repeat sessions for quantitative EEG sessions. And these are really not very easy tests to go through. It requires a lot of patience and a lot of willingness to do that. So we did that. And Dr. Pam Ferdusi, is she here? She's been very helpful, along with Dr. Rui, in arranging the quantitative EEG and the huge team of people, neuropsychology team at Jim Thorpe Center at the Integris Southwest Medical Center. And they have found some wonderful things for us. And I'll show some of the pictures. I don't want to complicate too much. I want to give some simple things that you can take home.
He'll fix it.
Swami fixed it. We went through 3 sessions of PET scanning. Normally, when you go and get CAT scan done, MRI scan done, most of the time you're looking at the structure of the brain. New technology has come out that studies the actual functioning of the brain as and when things happen. Not 10 months later, not 1 hour later. Unlike, our X-rays, they studied the structure of the brain. The PET scanning, what they do is they inject a dye, which is a radioactive dye, positron emission, radioactive dye. And that goes and sits in the parts of the brain that are active, that are working at that time. Let's say if I'm looking at you right now, my visual cortex is active right here at the back. So if you inject the dye into me right now, that dye directly goes there, sits right there, attaches itself to all those cells that my vision is working on. And there are a lot of experts here that know about it more than I do. Except that this is one of the most modern technologies that is helping human beings to understand what exactly happens when you think, when you feel, when you smile, when you frown, when you're hopeful, when you're healing, when you're not healing, when you're disappointed, when you're frustrated. Some wonderful, wonderful new findings are coming out that would help prepare for improved healing mechanisms as the future is evolving, discovering who we are. It's almost like a great treasure chest that we are discovering, beginning to discover. Modern science is helping us to do that. So Swamiji went through those sessions, and we found some interesting findings. Normally, when you and I, when you're awake, usually the brain is so active, there are 100 billion brain cells there, and they're so active all the time, they receive the input from all over the strata, eyes and ears and touch and smell and feel, and they are active. If you take an average brainwave test in awake fashion, it will be chaotic. It will be like a jungle. You know, it's like millions of people, millions of children crying and talking at the same time. But what meditation does is something very interesting. First, about the PET scan, the physiology, the functional part of the brain. It shows the frontal lobes getting more active. The frontal lobe is where you have judgment, wisdom, reasoning. If somebody doesn't have frontal lobes, you can really write him off because there's not much life left without frontal lobes. Unfortunately, some of them are driving cars. Yeah. So I define a mystic as someone who believes in the existence of realities beyond human comprehension. In that sense, Albert Einstein was a mystic. He was a little clerk in a patent office, and he visualized how life would be if he sits at the front of the light beam and travels along with the light beam and discovered the theory of relativity, which has transformed mankind forever. He was a mystic. He's somebody that believed in the existence of realities beyond normal human comprehension for average human being. One who inspires a sense of mystery and wonder. Here are some of the brain scans I'm going to share with you. This is alert, non-meditative state. If you look at, let me see, is there a left point? Okay, if you look at the top, it's not very active, not very red and yellow. You know, yellow and red being the most active front. It's not alert in the back where you are seeing visual cortex is alert. So as I was talking, where you see that is active in the back. That's the front, that's left, and that's right. Next. Okay, this is the first one, okay? The second one is 30 minutes into 30 minutes meditation. Look at the frontal lobes, how they light it up. They light it up big time. It's almost like it's got so much energy going in there. It's a very clear-cut indication. From the previous picture, I'll show you again, previous picture. See how it is? And how the next one is. Okay. Can you see that? That's in the 30 minutes of deep meditation. Next, 60 minutes of deep meditation. See how one side quietens down, and the other side remains very active. 60 minutes of deep meditation. There is something else happening right here in the middle. Right in the middle. Right here, in the frontal area. In the middle. It's called mesial frontal area. And here is a deep, deep level of meditation where it lights up significantly right here. Right in the middle. Probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches deeper. It's called mesial frontal area where both front lobes come and join together like that. Right there. What's interesting was Swami was inside, and that's the last part of that one. See that light right here? Lighting up right here in this area. So what's interesting is I've never seen that before in my life. So the other parts I've seen may not be to the extent that Swami showed. But this is something interesting. There is something called dopamine, which is a chemical our brain is involved in. Dopamine is produced mostly in this area. And when you have any pleasurable feeling in your body, it is mediated through dopamine. It's a neuroreceptor. You know, it's a chemical that transmits messages of pleasure. It basically evokes pleasure. If you eat gourmet food, it is dopamine that tells you it's gourmet food. If you have no dopamine, you may eat gourmet food, but think, oh, it looks like horrible cooking. Same thing is with visual pleasures you have. Beautiful people, beautiful sceneries, nature, whatever gives you pleasure. It's mediated through dopamine. Incidentally, alcohol and chemicals mediate through dopamine. And everything that human beings experience involves dopamine. But what's interesting is that you and I have the potential to create our own dopamine in a big way. So I named it for lack of a word in the past, the D spot, which is the dopamine spot. Because I know that in America they like good names. I'm not going to name the other spots, but if you can discover your D spot, you got it made in life. The D really stands for divine spot. The D also stands for delight, and the dopamine spot. And that's what you see right there. I think future researchers will confirm. They may name it something different, some better name than what I could name. But that's very interesting. What's also interesting is that, he could, at will, go in and out of the state. So we asked Swamiji when he came from the scanning room, when we saw this one, we asked Swamiji, what were you exactly doing when so-and-so thing happened? He didn't know what was there. He did not see the pictures yet. He said, really interestingly, there were 3 people there, he said, I opened my third eye. And that's stunning because I learned about third eye as a child, but didn't read about it for a long time, what it is today. But what he said was, I asked him to describe more in detail what does he mean by third eye. And he said, it's a deep meditative state. It's probably very, very deep state. But he said, it looks like a small petal on one side going and joining. Another side, another petal comes and join, and you join together, and then it becomes the third eye. Like a blissful state that you experience and open third eye. Isn't it interesting that exactly same area that he was saying he was open? We are not seeing with the naked eye what's going on, but with sophisticated modern technology, we're able to see that some part of the brain is activated that you normally can't see. So that's really a very, very interesting and fascinating finding. And we're going to talk about it for a long time, this finding. And there are many other findings, but I don't want to take time away from Swamiji's wonderful presentation tonight. And briefly, I'll give you a nutshell what happened with brainwave test QEEG. Quantitative EEG is a computerized analysis of the brain waves. The brain goes through several stages, the alpha, beta, theta, gamma states. Delta is sleep, deep sleep state. Alpha is kind of very relaxed, attentive state. Beta is normally what you do. Beta is really alert state. Theta is really the one that you want to be. It's really deep, deep, deep meditation, deep relaxation, wonderful feeling. He could go in and out of theta at will, anytime. That's wonderful. But here is another one that's really, really interesting for scientists and for sportsmen, for performers, and for Nobel laureates in the future. And that is, there is a special wavelength between 12 to 14 megahertz. Very, very few scientists know about it, even today. If you go and talk to average scientists, they won't know what it means. It's called the SMR range, sensory motor rhythm range. It's a special narrow band of the brain waves. You get into that when you are in the zone. Those of you that are golfers, probably Tiger Woods is in the zone, or Vijay Singh is in the zone. We talk about Pete Sampras in tennis and Raptor, and in football, you have so many people there. When the zone basketball championship, you saw them throwing those balls, and effortlessly it goes in, no matter where they're throwing the ball from. That means they're in the zone. What happens is the ultimate coordination of the muscles and the nerves, the body, entire body organs, and the chemistry and the hormones. They become so cohesive to the point that anything is possible at that time. You want to be in the zone. For example, if Oklahoma University football team or OSU football team, which you support, they found the secret of how to get into the zone, they will be national champions every year. And they'll be probably undefeated for 100 years. The secret is, how do you find that zone? And what's interesting is Swamiji was able to go in and out of that at will. That's really fascinating finding. That's something that's going to be talked about in the future. The SMR range. Then the other thing that's really interested the specialist in QEEG was, Dr. Fordisi and the team was, that when you go from alert state to meditative state, you go through various frequencies, and they are represented in various colors. And I've never seen that myself in my life. When he was going from alert state to the deep meditative state, you would go in the same color range, in the same order as the rainbow. The Vidyar, violet, indigo, blue, green, red, yellow. Vidyar, say orange and red. Fine. And then when you come out of the range, you would come in the exact same range, opposite. And he did that several times, and that kind of stunned us at that time. And those are some of the findings I want to share with you. There's so much more talk about physiology of mind and brain and the body. It's a fascinating field that, this is something that all human beings can relate to, can apply in our own lives. Not only in sophisticated knowledge, but these things have application in daily life for all of us.